The Galactic Council ruled the stars for 10,000 years. Over 500 alien species bowed to their power. No one dared question them. No one ever said no, until they met humans. Commander Alan Wright sat alone in the control room of North American Space Defense Command when the strange signal came through. The computer screens flickered, then showed an alien face, gray skin, 6 yellow eyes, and a mouthful of needle-like teeth. "What the hell?" Alan whispered, his coffee cup frozen halfway to his lips. A 30-year military veteran, he had seen many things, but nothing like this. The alien spoke in perfect English. "Greetings, Earth beings. I am Scout Commander Zix of the Galactic Council. We have been watching your planet. We come in peace." Alan didn't believe it for a second. 20 years fighting wars had taught him that when someone says they come in peace, you should check if they're hiding a gun. He pushed the red emergency button under his desk. Within minutes, all major world leaders received the alert. We are not alone. 3 days later, the massive alien ship appeared in Earth's sky. It was huge, 5 miles long and shaped like a silver arrowhead. It hovered over the Pacific Ocean, casting a shadow bigger than many islands. People around the world watched in fear as smaller scout ships flew down to major cities. At the United Nations building in New York, Susan Miller adjusted her blue suit jacket nervously. Just last week, she had been teaching international relations at Harvard. Now, as the newly appointed United Earth ambassador, she would meet actual aliens. The weight of humanity's future pressed down on her shoulders. The aliens entered the room dramatically. Ambassador Zekthar of the Vordani stomped in on 4 thick legs, his upper body covered in shimmering scales. Behind him, his assistant Mira floated in a water-filled bubble suit. The aquatic Laraxi had no bones, just flowing blue flesh that swirled inside her containment suit. "We appreciate this meeting," Susan began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Humanity welcomes peaceful contact with—" Zekthar cut her off with a wave of his clawed hand. "Let us not waste time. The Galactic Council has made its decision regarding your species." The alien pulled out a small device that projected a 3D map of the galaxy. A tiny blue dot highlighted Earth's position. "You are here," Zekthar said, pointing a sharp claw at the dot. "Insignificant, primitive, but with potential. The Council offers you protection." Susan frowned. "Protection from what?" "From everything the galaxy contains that would destroy you," Mira answered, her voice bubbling through her translator. "There are predators among the stars that would see your world as nothing but resources to harvest." "Like you?" asked General Pete Summers, the U.S. military representative, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. The aliens ignored him. Zekthar continued, "Earth will become a protectorate of the Council. You will have limited travel rights beyond your solar system. After a trial period of 200 years, you may earn a minor voice in Council affairs." The human delegation exchanged worried glances. Susan leaned forward. "And what does Earth receive from this arrangement?" "Survival," Zekthar stated simply. "Is that not enough?" For the next hour, Susan tried to negotiate better terms. She showed videos of human achievements: skyscrapers rising from deserts, medical breakthroughs, the International Space Station. "We are advancing quickly," she argued. "We deserve respect as equals." The alien seemed bored. Mira's fluid body swirled impatiently in her water suit. Zekthar clicked his claws against the table. "Your species discovered electricity less than 200 years ago," Zekthar said. "The Vordani harnessed star power before your kind invented the wheel. You are not equals." The meeting grew tense. Then came the breaking point. "Of course," Zekthar said casually. "Earth's resources will be managed by Council experts. Your uranium, rare minerals, and water reserves are quite valuable." The room went silent. Susan's face hardened. "Managed," she repeated. "You mean taken." "Extracted efficiently," Mira corrected. "For the greater good of the galaxy." Susan stood, up slowly. All her diplomatic training fought against what she was about to do, but some lines couldn't be crossed. "We decline your offer," she stated firmly. "Earth and humanity will remain independent." Zekthar's 6 eyes blinked in surprise. In 10,000 years of council history, no species had ever rejected their first offer. Independence is not an option, he replied, his mouth stretching into what passed for a smile among his species, a grimace that revealed rows of sharp teeth. Accept protection or face difficulties. The threat hung in the air like a storm cloud. The aliens left without another word. Within days, small council ships positioned themselves around Earth, blocking pathways to space. Fighter jets that flew too close were disabled with strange energy pulses that fried their electronics. World leaders gathered in emergency sessions. Military forces went on high alert. People stocked up on supplies, fearing the worst. They think we'll just roll over, Susan told the UN Security Council a week later. They expect us to surrender without a fight. General Summers smiled grimly. Then they don't know humans very well, do they? Outside the meeting room, ordinary people around the world looked up at the alien ships with fear, but also determination. Throughout human history, bullies had always existed. And throughout human history, someone always stood up to them. The Galactic Council had ruled unopposed for 10,000 years. That was about to change. The alien ships hung in Earth's sky for 3 months. They did nothing but watch and wait. People tried to return to normal life, but it was hard to forget the threat above. Then one Tuesday morning, everything changed. Mary Jones was driving to work in Chicago when her car suddenly died. All around her, other cars stopped too. Traffic lights went dark. Cell phones wouldn't work. The entire city fell silent. The same thing happened everywhere on Earth at exactly the same moment. Planes lost power and had to glide to emergency landings. Hospitals switched to backup generators. TV and radio stations went off the air. The Galactic Council had attacked without warning. Their ships released invisible energy waves that disabled all of Earth's electronics. They believed humans would panic and surrender when their technology failed. They were wrong. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a bunker protected by special shields, Jack Parker watched the attack unfold on screens powered by hidden generators. As director of the Global Defense Initiative, he had spent the last 3 months preparing for this exact moment. Jack was a tough man with gray hair and serious eyes. Before this job, he had been a spy for 20 years. He knew how enemies thought, and he had guessed the aliens would try something like this. Status report, he said calmly as red warning lights flashed around him. His assistant, a young woman named Karen, checked her tablet. 80% of global power grid is down. All satellites are offline. Major cities are reporting complete communications blackout. Jack nodded. And our systems? Karen smiled. Shadow network is fully operational. All bunkers report ready status. Jack turned to face the room full of worried world leaders who had gathered in the emergency command center. Presidents and prime ministers from every major nation sat around a large table, their faces lit by the dim emergency lights. They think we're primitive, Jack told them. That's their first mistake. He tapped a button and a hidden screen revealed a world map with green dots spread across every continent. For 5 years before these aliens showed up, we've been preparing for a possible space threat, Jack explained. Project Starshield was top secret. Only a few hundred people knew about it. He pointed to the green dots. These are hardened bunkers that the aliens can't detect. They contain backup systems, weapons, and communication equipment that doesn't rely on satellites or regular power. The President of the United States leaned forward. You're saying we can fight back? I'm saying we already are, Jack replied. While they were watching us, we were studying them too. In another bunker halfway around the world, Dr. Nancy Bell adjusted her glasses and stared at her computer screen. As head of Earth's weapons research, she had made an important discovery during the diplomatic meetings 3 months ago. The aliens use neural interfaces to control their ships. She explained to her team of scientists. Their brains connect directly to their computers. It's advanced technology, but it has a weakness. During the first meeting with the aliens, Nancy had secretly scanned their communications. She discovered the aliens used a specific frequency to connect their brains to their machines. For 3 months, her team had developed a virus that could disrupt this connection. Let them think they've won, she told her team as reports of the worldwide blackout came in. Let them come closer. Above Earth, the Council Commander Zekthar watched with satisfaction as the planet went dark. His massive ship's view screen showed cities without power and humans scrambling in confusion. Begin the landing sequence, he ordered. Send the first wave of occupation forces. These humans will learn their place quickly. 500 smaller ships detached from the main fleet. They entered Earth's atmosphere, their hulls glowing red-hot as they descended toward major cities. The aliens inside prepared their weapons, expecting little resistance from the primitive humans whose technology they had disabled. In her bunker, Nancy watched the incoming ships on a special radar. They're entering the optimal zone, she said, her finger hovering over a red button. All teams ready? Now. She pressed the button. Around the world, hidden transmitters activated simultaneously. They broadcast a special signal aimed directly at the alien fleet. The effect was immediate. Inside the alien ships, the neural interfaces connecting pilots to their vessels suddenly scrambled. Aliens screamed as their brain connections overloaded with nonsense data. What's happening? Zekthar demanded as reports of failing ships flooded in. His own neural link buzzed with static, giving him a splitting headache. Across the planet, Council ships lost control. Some spun wildly before crashing into empty fields and oceans. Others managed rough emergency landings in deserts and mountains. Not a single ship reached its intended target. From his command bunker, Jack Parker watched the radar as alien ships fell from the sky like rain. Phase 1 complete, he announced to the world leaders. We've neutralized their first wave without firing a single conventional shot. The president of Russia raised an eyebrow. And what is Phase 2? Jack smiled grimly. Now we show the Council that humans don't just defend, we fight back. In orbit, Zekthar stared in disbelief at the reports. Coming in, every single first-wave ship was down. Thousands of Council soldiers were stranded on the planet below. Impossible, he whispered. They're just primitives. His second-in-command, a tall insect-like being, approached cautiously. Sir, we may have underestimated these humans. Zekthar slammed his clawed fist against his command chair. Prepare the second wave. We will not be defeated by apes who just discovered electricity. But as he gave the order, a chill ran down his spine. For the first time in his long military career, Zekthar felt something new. He felt fear. On the planet Venturix Prime, the 5 most powerful beings in the galaxy gathered in an emergency meeting. The Galactic Council's main chamber was a massive room with a ceiling that showed the stars above. 5 thrones sat in a circle, each made for a different alien species. High Counselor Drav, a being made of living crystal, glowed with angry red light. How is this possible? He demanded. The crystal plates that formed his body clicked together as he moved. Earth should have fallen already. The holographic displays in the center of the room showed nothing but static where images of Earth's conquest should have been. No reports had come from Zekthar's fleet in over 3 days. The humans were supposed to be primitive, said Counselor MXXL, a floating cloud of purple gas contained in a force field. Their technology is barely 2 centuries old. Yet they have somehow disabled our first attack wave, added Counselor Grip, who resembled a giant octopus with metal implants. This is unexpected. The council members fell silent as the chamber doors opened. 2 guards dragged in a human prisoner. His blue uniform was torn and dirty, but he stood straight and proud. This is Admiral Scott Harris, announced Counselor Grip. Captured during our initial attack on Earth's space stations, he was supposed to testify about Earth's surrender. Instead, Admiral Harris looked around at the alien council members without fear. He was a tall man with dark skin and a short beard. Despite being a prisoner for weeks, his eyes showed strength. You wanted me to tell my people to give up, Scott said. I'm here to deliver a different message. High Counselor Drav's crystal body pulsed with light. Your planet is defenseless. Your technology is disabled. Your military forces are blind without their satellites. Why do you still resist? Scott smiled slightly. You misunderstood us from the beginning. Humans have spent our entire history fighting. Against nature, against limitations, and yes, against each other. Did you really think we wouldn't fight you? The council chamber erupted in angry shouts and hisses. Guards moved to take Scott away, but Counselor Breen, a tall, insect-like being, raised her hand to stop them. "Wait," she said, her compound eyes studying Scott carefully. "How did your people disable our ships? That technology should be beyond your capabilities." Scott just smiled and said nothing. Back on Earth, a very different meeting was taking place. In an underground lab in Arizona, Frank Wilson led a team of 50 scientists and engineers. They crowded around pieces of a crashed alien ship. Frank was a former race car mechanic with grease-stained hands and a mind that could understand how anything worked just by looking at it. He had never gone to college, but he could take apart an engine and put it back together blindfolded. "Look at this engine," he said, pointing to a glowing blue cylinder. "It doesn't burn fuel like our rockets. It somehow pulls energy directly from space itself." Dr. Lucy Evans, a quantum physicist, scanned the device with special equipment. "It's creating a field that interacts with dark energy," she explained. "That's how they travel faster than light." All around the world, similar teams studied crashed alien ships. They learned how the aliens' shields worked, how their weapons fired, and how their computers processed information. Frank picked up a small silver disc from the alien ship. "This is their navigation system," he said. "I think we can make it work, with our own computers." "How long would that take normally?" asked General Summers, who supervised the project. Frank thought for a moment. "Maybe 10 years?" "You have 6 months," the general replied. Frank nodded. "We'll do it in 3. He wasn't exaggerating. Within 3 months, Earth had built its first space fighter using modified alien technology. Within 6 months, a small fleet of these fighters patrolled Earth's orbit. They weren't as advanced as proper Council ships, but they had one big advantage. The Council wouldn't expect them. 1 year after the first attack, Earth had created a real space navy. They couldn't build huge ships like the Council's, but they made smaller, faster vessels that could hide behind moons and asteroids. Admiral Lisa Green stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance, Earth's first real spaceship. She was a former Navy commander with short gray hair and more battle experience than anyone else in the fleet. "Status report," she ordered as her ship hid behind Earth's moon. "Council reinforcements detected," her officer replied. "Big fleet, at least 200 ships." Lisa nodded. "They're coming back to finish what they started. Inform all ships. Prepare for Operation Hornet's Nest." The Council fleet appeared near Mars, a massive armada of silver ships. Their commander, Admiral Vrax, was confident. He had brought 3 times more ships than Zekthar's failed expedition. "Begin approach to Earth," he ordered. "Full combat formation." As the Council fleet moved toward Earth, they expected to find a helpless planet still recovering from their first attack. Instead, small ships suddenly appeared from hiding places throughout the solar system. Earth's new fleet attacked from all directions at once using hit-and-run tactics. "What is this?" Admiral Vrax shouted as explosions rocked his flagship. "They shouldn't have space capabilities." 3 small Earth ships zoomed past his view screen, firing weapons that cut through Council shields like they weren't even there. "They've adapted our technology," his science officer reported in shock. "They're using our own weapons against us." For 3 days, the battle raged across the solar system. Earth's ships were outnumbered, but they fought with surprising skill. Lisa Green led her pilots in daring attacks, striking from the shadows of moons and asteroids, then disappearing before the Council ships could respond. By the end of the 3rd day, 60% of the Council fleet was destroyed or disabled. Admiral Vrax had no choice but to order a retreat. As the remaining Council ships limped away from Earth, Lisa Green allowed herself a small smile. "Send a message to Earth," she said. "Tell them the Council's second attack has failed. We've won this battle." But everyone knew the war was far from over. The Council ruled thousands of worlds. They would not accept defeat easily. In his prison, cell on Venturix Prime, Admiral Scott Harris heard guards talking about Earth's victory. He smiled to himself in the darkness. The Council was about to learn an important lesson. The victory against the Council's second attack gave Earth time to breathe, but Everyone knew it wouldn't last long. The Council ruled thousands of worlds. They had millions of ships and billions of soldiers. They would return with an even bigger force. 2 months after the battle, world leaders gathered in the old United Nations building in New York. Unlike their first meeting when the aliens arrived, this time they met with confidence. Kate Williams stood at the front of the room. As Secretary General of the United Nations, she had become Earth's wartime leader. She was a small woman with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Before the alien invasion, she had been a respected diplomat known for solving impossible problems. Military victory alone will not save us, she told the gathered leaders. The Council is too big. For every ship we destroy, they can build 10 more. We need a different approach. She turned to Daniel Reed, a bearded man with glasses who looked more like a college professor than a war strategist. That's because he was one, until the invasion changed everything. Professor Reed has developed what we call the Fracture Protocol, Kate explained. Daniel, please share your findings. Daniel stood up and adjusted his glasses. Thank you, Madam Secretary. He pressed a button, and a holographic map of the galaxy appeared above the table, showing thousands of stars in different colors. The Council has ruled for 10,000 years, he began. But that doesn't mean everyone likes them. Their system is built on inequality. Older member species get the best planets and resources. Newer members get whatever's left. He zoomed in on specific star systems. These species joined the Council more recently, within the last 1,000 years. They're treated poorly. Their resources are taken. Their colonies get the worst planets. And how does this help us? Asked the president of Brazil. Daniel smiled. They're already unhappy. They just need someone to show them there's another way. While the meeting continued on Earth, smaller secret meetings happened across the galaxy. Using captured Council communication devices, Earth sent special agents to 12 different alien worlds. These agents weren't soldiers. They were diplomats, traders, and cultural experts. Lily Wong stepped off her small ship onto the planet Nevar. The purple sky and 3 suns felt strange, but she focused on her mission. As Earth's ambassador to the Nevari, she carried an important message. The Nevari looked like tall, thin humans with silver skin and no hair. They had joined the Council 400 years ago and had regretted it ever since. The Council took their planet's valuable minerals but gave little in return. Welcome, Earth human, said the Nevari leader Terex. Your message mentioned a proposal? Lily bowed respectfully. Yes. Earth offers the Nevari something the Council never has: equal partnership. She laid out Earth's offer: direct trade without Council taxes, technology sharing, and mutual defense. Most importantly, Earth would treat the Nevari as equals, not subjects. Why should we trust you? Terex asked. Your species is new to the stars. Because we know what it's like to be bullied, Lily replied, and we know the value of true allies. Similar conversations happened on other worlds. The Xinthu, insect-like beings with advanced biotech. The Krell, massive creatures who lived on gas giants. The Poli, small bird-like aliens with incredible artistic talents. All of them had one thing in common: the Council treated them as second-class citizens. Back on Earth, Kate Williams received exciting news. 3 species have agreed to our alliance, her aide reported. The Nevari, Xinthu, and Krell have officially broken from the Council. Kate nodded. And the others? 7 more are interested but afraid to openly defy the Council. They're establishing secret communication channels. Daniel Reed, who had developed the strategy, smiled. It's working better than we expected. The Council system was already cracking. We just gave it a push. On Ventarix Prime, the Council's capital world, panic spread through the government offices. Council leaders had never faced such a crisis. This is unprecedented, declared Sub-Councilor Thrix, a serpent-like being. No species has ever dared to subvert Council authority this way. High Councilor Drav's crystal body flashed with angry red light. The Nevari have cancelled their resource shipments. The Krell have closed their space lanes to our ships. The Xinthu are sharing technology with Earth. How are the humans doing? This demanded Counselor Grip. They barely have space travel. That's exactly why, said Counselor Breen quietly. All eyes turned to her. We've always believed older means better. The humans are proving that new perspectives have value too. Nonsense, Drav shouted. They're just primitive beings who got lucky. We will crush this rebellion and remind everyone why the Council has ruled for 10,000 years. He ordered the largest military buildup in Council history. Thousands of ships were constructed. Millions of troops prepared for war. The Council would strike Earth with overwhelming force and then punish any species that had supported the humans. But Earth wasn't waiting for the attack. Kate Williams gathered her top advisors for the next phase of humanity's plan. The Council is building a massive fleet, she told them. They'll come with everything they have. We can't match their numbers. We don't need to, said Frank Wilson, who now led Earth's technology division. Remember when we sent that virus to their neural interfaces? Well, I think we can do something even better. He picked up a small device that looked like a metal cube with glowing blue lines. This is a quantum transmitter based on Council technology. It can broadcast a signal that no Council encryption can block. A signal saying what? Kate asked. Frank grinned. The truth. For 10,000 years, the Council has ruled through secrecy and fear. What if everyone could see how they really operate? Jim Cooper, a former Special Forces soldier who had lost his family in the first alien attack, stepped forward. Give me a team. We'll place these transmitters where they'll do the most damage. Kate nodded slowly. The Council's greatest weakness isn't their military, it's their lies. And it's time everyone sees them for what they really are. Earth had moved beyond just defending itself. Now it was taking the fight directly to the heart of the Galactic Council. The Galactic Council's palace on Venterix Prime was the most secure building in the galaxy. For 10,000 years, no enemy had ever breached its walls. Its shield technology was perfect. Its guards were the best warriors from 100 worlds. None of that stopped Jim Cooper and his team. Jim was a man with nothing to lose. The Council's first attack had killed his wife and daughter. Now he wanted justice. He led a small team of 6 humans on what many called a suicide mission. They used a captured Council ship to approach Venterix Prime. Their ship looked like any other Council vessel. The fake identification codes worked perfectly. No alarms sounded as they landed at a small spaceport near the capital city. Remember, Jim told his team, as they put on disguises that made them look like minor Council officials. We place the transmitters and get out. No heroics. The team split into pairs and entered the city. They carried the small cube-shaped quantum transmitters in hidden pockets. These devices, created using stolen Council technology, could broadcast signals that no Council system could block. The timing was perfect. The Council was holding its centennial assembly, a massive gathering that happened once every 100 years. Representatives from every member species would attend. It was the ideal moment to reveal the truth. Using forged passes created by Earth's best hackers, Jim and his team entered the palace through service entrances. They moved carefully through back hallways, placing transmitters at key locations. Security cameras didn't see them thanks to special cloaking devices Frank Wilson had developed. Last one in place, Jim whispered into his communicator after placing a transmitter near the main Council chamber. All units withdraw. Back on Earth, Kate Williams received the signal. Activate the transmitters, she ordered. Across the galaxy, on every planet under Council rule, all communication systems suddenly switched to a single broadcast. People watched on screens, holographic projectors, and neural interfaces as the Council's private meeting appeared before their eyes. For the first time in 10,000 years, ordinary citizens could see how the Council really operated. They watched, as High Counselor Drav spoke openly about managing lesser species. They heard plans to strip resources from colony worlds. They saw the Council discuss how to keep newer members weak and dependent. The humans must be crushed completely, Drav was saying, unaware that his words reached trillions of beings. And any species that supported them must be punished severely. We cannot allow this challenge to our authority. Counselor Grip spoke. Next, the outer colonies exist to serve us, not to have rights or voices. This is the natural order. Across the galaxy, people watched in shock. The Council had always claimed to rule for the common good. Now everyone could see the truth. Within hours, protests erupted on hundreds of worlds. Council authority collapsed as local governments declared independence. The carefully built system of control fell apart in a single day. Jim Cooper and his team escaped Venterix Prime as chaos spread through the capital. They returned to Earth as heroes. 3 months later, representatives from 50 former Council worlds met to form a new Galactic Assembly. Unlike the Council, this would be a true partnership of equals. Earth was invited as a founding member. Susan Miller, now leading Earth's delegation, took her seat at a circular table where no species sat above another. They tried to conquer us because they thought us weak, she told the assembly. But humanity's strength was never in weapons. It was in our belief that everyone deserves freedom and respect. The old council members watched silently as their power vanished. Earth's revenge wasn't destruction. It was justice.